Today's video is going to be how to list a house on Realcomp as a partial save so that we can make it active. I'm also going to start off by looking up the previous listings if possible, along with the public records information, just in case you need it while you are listing a house. So the property today that we're going to look up is going to be 48526 Warwick, just so you can see that typed out. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is go to our public records county search. So for whatever the address is from the listing sales checklist form that's been filled out, you are going to want to go make sure it's in the correct county. This one, it just so happens to be in Wayne County. 48526. There's actually only one match, but say you didn't have the street, or if you're looking up any other type of information, you can type in the first two letters, first letter, followed by an asterisk to finish out searching. You can also search by last name and first name. Again, if you only know how to spell the first two letters, or if you're sounding it out, you can use the asterisk and it'll populate the results. Okay, so this is the house I'm going to be working on. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Most of the time you'll print this out, or you'll want to save it as a PDF and upload it to your documents section in Brivity. That way you have it for further use, or you can also put it in Dropbox under the appropriate file. So if a property does have MLS listing history, it will show up here. You can also click search for MLS. If it doesn't, then that means we are going to most likely need measurement information when we order photos with Jim. So you're going to want to find the most recent listings, which I actually have as, for the most detailed information. So I'm actually going to use the one with this MLS number. And this is what I'm going to also print out. That way I have all of this measurement information and all of the information here as well. So when I'm filling out my own listing ticket, I will be able to easily cross-reference this instead of making a client fill out the entire Realcomp residential sheet. If you watched the listing paperwork video, I do have in there. So I'm not doing any modifications. I'm actually going to add a new listing. Residential listings will always be the top one. Lease, we very rarely do these two. We can. It's a different form. It's actually much shorter, but we're most 9 times out of 10 going to be using the top one. Same thing, we're going to want to fill out the Warwick. And it's actually not in Oakland County, it's in Wayne County. Make sure it's the correct information. Going to fill from there. If it was a listing that Jason had previously while at Keller Williams, you can do the fill from previous listing ticket and you'll type in the MLS number. For all of our listings, we do a preview before we go live, so we want to make it a partial save. And we're going to begin to fill out the contact information and all of the information for the listing sheet. If you do have one filled out, it is 4 pages long from the listing paperwork. If not, we go off of the previous MLSs, and this is why we do a preview, is so that the clients can ensure that all of that information from the previous listings were also correct and we can add any additional information. So now I'm just going to go through and fill it out. Contact name is always going to be showing time. If there is a co-list agent, you are going to have to click find list, find co-list. You'll type in their information and click save and it'll auto-populate. For example, if it does populate this 459 number, you're going to want to put in the cell phone number. This is labeled as residential. We always do appointment lockbox. It's private owned. Our list price again will be on our listing paperwork and on our listing sales checklist. Type in the price. It is not a short sale. No home warranty offered, and possession is always negotiable. Again, I'm reading this information off the previous listing ticket, checking out any information that I feel may be incorrect. Lot dimensions is A2. If for whatever reason this does not populate or you cannot find this on the public records on a previous MLS, there is another way to do it by doing a property record search and locating the property on the map view, which I can do another video on if you so need. Public sidewalk, it is paved. Site description. It is a site condo. Sure all this information is correct. We're going to Wooded. Again, I'm going off the previous MLS ticket. Some of this information you can also tell from the photos. Two-story. It's actually a Cape Cod. Cape Cod means it is a first floor master. And roof material, it's not required. There are sprinklers and ground maintenance. You'll just go through page by page through all the information. Just double checking, we have the exclusion sheet along with Jason's note to find out if any of the appliances were excluded. Most commonly it is a washer and dryer, but it's always good to double check. So we have no exclusions. Exclusions can also be including TVs, wall mounts, drapes, anything that's built into the house, screwed into the walls. Again, this one on the previous listing tickets, if you're following along with me, does not have the fireplace fuel, so I'm going to reference the notes that I have on the paperwork. And I do have that it is actually a gas fireplace located in the great room. These are the most common in newer homes, forced air, all natural gas. And I'm going to fill out the room sizes. Their bathrooms, it does not require a room size, just requires a level. A lab is also the half bath. A lot of questions we get from sellers are, it'll say 3.1, so most people think it needs to be labeled as 3.5 if you're counting a half bath. In Realcomp for the MLS, the 1 is just saying how many lavatories there are, so how many of those half baths. Because if it had a 5 there, that means they would have 5 lavatories, which are just, a toilet and a sink. Again, just going off of the previous listing ticket. Now it's important that when you are ordering photos, you have already looked up the previous MLS ticket to know if you have the room sizes or not. If it's a site condo, most of the time, if you can find the same floor plan, or if it's a newer construction subdivision, the floor plans are going to be similar and you'll be able to use a previous listing or another listing in that same sub with the same square footage. In other cases, homes such as in Garden City, Redford, Westland, the older homes that were built in the 50s and 60s, the floor plans may not be as similar, so it's important to look it up and make sure that you have that information so that if not, you can order the photos with measurements, and Jim will do that for us. He uses a laser measurement. There is an association fee, again something that you'll find out when searching the subdivision. It's $2.90 a month. When sending over the documentation through Dotloop, this is always something that I ask for if I know it's in a subdivision that has an association. I do make them fill out this section along with a signature on the bottom of page 4, which is, this is going to be page 4. Just putting in the information that's provided by the homeowner. Protection period's always 180. Unless it's a short sale, we always offer out 3% on a standard listing. If it's a lease, it is percent or 1/2 of the month. Level of service is always full, which means you select all of these. Listing type, we always have an exclusive right to sell. List date and expiration date we will currently leave blank, and I'll explain why in a moment. Since this is a condo, I do need to double check and see if it is FHA approved. So for now, I'm going to leave FHA and VA off, along with my remarks. I'll show you why in just a moment. So I have all of my information entered except for a listing and expiration date. So to double check and find out if I'm missing any other fields that are required, I'm actually going to go back to our start and click Active. Now because I didn't put those dates in, it won't publish the listing. But if there are any other items I'm missing on whatever page, they'll come up with a little information and what I need to fill in. We'll go back to a partial. and submit the listing. From here, you cannot upload documents until after the listing goes live. We can configure the showing assist, and we can add our photos. So I'm actually going to download the photos. To go through all of my, this is for Warwick. This is the standard way they come through from Jim. Download them all. They'll download to the computer and you'll open the zip file. So they are currently downloading. Just waiting for them to finish. So I will go to Add Edit Photos. Again, if it's one that we have had previously listed, you can import it from the other listing. It'll prompt you for the MLS number. My zip file is currently opening. Okay, so now I have that folder in my downloads. We'll wait for that folder to pop up. Sometimes can take a minute. Okay, there we go. I want to sort it by name, or else you're going to be rearranging all of the photos and it can be a pain. I'm going to select all. So you can hit Command A, Control A if you're using a regular Mac, Windows computer as opposed to a Mac, or you can click on the top, click, and then click Shift, and then while holding Shift, click the bottom, and it'll select all of them for you. We'll go ahead and upload all of those. And since I did them in numerical name order, they should all populate in the correct order when uploading. We always try to stay in the flow of the house. So as you're walking through the front door, what you're going to see and lead through there. I want to make sure it makes sense. Okay, so 41 of 41. Everything is on there. They all make sense. If you did need to change them, you can click where the numbers are. You'll get that little icon to where you can rotate and move the photos. If anything uploads sideways, you can open it and rotate them here. We're going to go ahead and click Save. You know it's loading up here. So now that I have all of the photos on there, typically what I like to do is I like to open this back up. I like to go through all of our photos and all of the notes I have on the property and take a minute to write my description in an email as opposed to doing it directly in the Realcomp. And I like to email it to Jason, or you'll email it to me for approval on the house before we go ahead and copy and paste that into the Realcomp form and before we send that preview over to the clients, just to make sure there's nothing we're missing. For example, this house, they really want to make sure that we call out the Brazilian cherry floor. So with that, I'm going to take a minute, I'm going to go through these photos and write up my description. Once I have my description finished, you'll go either back to your home screen, and you can do it. Once the property is loaded, it'll say my partial save listings, or we can go to our input. Now it'll be in the select down. We're going to open up the residential listing form, and from there we'll be able to paste in our remarks along with our typical agent-only remarks. And again, click Save. This is where we send a preview to the clients to verify that all of the information is correct, to make sure everything that they want listed is listed as well. So you'll go back to our listing, make sure it's all there. You will select it and email it to yourself. So I'm going to send it to myself, that way I have that link. You can also click. Sometimes it'll let you click share as well, but since we're not live, it's not going to let us click share. So that has now popped up in my email. So we have this link that we will then copy and paste into our email templates, which are also in Brivity. Find our preview. We will copy and paste it into the link and send it out to the client with the correct formatting. Once we have the approval, we can go back to our Realcomp, go back to our input for that listing, again to the residential listing form, and you will then switch it to active, making the list date effective whatever day they gave approval, and expiration date will be 6 months out. From there, you will be able to upload the documents once live, and that is how you list it in Realcomp.